The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Pishichai Nopakau. Chapter 15. Back from the dead. But there was no joyfulness in the village that Saturday afternoon. The Harpers and Aunt Polly's family were overcome with grief. An unusual quiet possessed the village. The villagers talked little, but they sighed often. The Saturday holiday seemed a burden to the children. They were not interested in their sport and gradually gave them up. In the afternoon, Becky Thatcher found herself wandering about the desert schoolyard and feeling very unhappy, but she saw nothing there to comfort her. Presently, she stopped and said to herself, "It was just here. Oh, if he was to do it again, I wouldn't say that he was very smart. I wouldn't say that for the world. But he's gone now, and I'll never, never, never see him anymore." This thought made her burst into tears, and she walked slowly away. Then a group of boys and girls, Tom's and Joe's playmates, came by and stood looking over the fence and talking in respectful tones of how Tom did so and so the last time they saw him, and how Joe said this and that. When the Sunday school hour was finished the next morning, the church bell began to ring very slowly and solemnly instead of ringing in the usual way. The villagers began to gather, staying a moment in the entrance of the church to converse in whispers about the sad event. None could remember when the little church has been so full before. There was finally a waiting pause, and then Aunt Polly entered with Sid and Mary, followed by the Harper family, all in deep black. The villagers and the old minister Hasfield rose respectfully and stood until the mourners were seated in front. The minister prayed, and a movement sacred song was sung. As the service proceeded, the minister drew such pictures of the charming ways and the rest promise of the lost children that every soul there, thinking that he recognized those pictures, felt sad in remembering that he had only seen faults in the poor boys. The minister described some good deeds in the life of the departed, which show their sweet, generous natures. The villagers became more and more moved as the sad tale went on, till at last there was not a dry eye in the whole church. Among the announced seats upstairs there was a slight noise which nobody noticed. A, mo- a moment later, the church door creaked. The minister raised his streaming eyes above his handkerchief and stood as if turned to stone, gazing in the direction of the door. All turned round, rose to their feet, and stared as if they could not believe their eyes, while the 3 dead boys came marching up the middle of the church. Tom leading, Joe next, and Huck last. They had been hidden upstairs, listening to their own funeral service. Aunt Polly, Mary, and the Harpers threw themselves upon their recovered ones, covered them with kisses, and poured out thanksgivings, while poor Huck stood ashamed and uncomfortable in his rug, not knowing what to do or where to hide from so many unfairly eyes. He started to creep away, but Tom seized him and said, "Aunt Polly, it isn't fair. Somebody must be glad to see Huck, and so they shall. I'm glad to see him. Poor motherless boy." And the loving attentions which Aunt Polly showed upon him made him more uncomfortable than he was before. Suddenly, the minister shouted at the top of his voice, "Praise God, from whom all blazing flow. Sing, and put your hearts into it." And they did, while the grand old song shook the roof. Tom Sawyer, the pirate, looked around upon the envying children about him, and confessed in his heart that this was the proudest moment of his life.